Good afternoon. In the next, maybe half an hour, we are going to tell you a bit about our introduction of WINPACCS. We are pretty much the new kids on the block, so we have been using WINPACCS for a bit more than a year now. And we are going to explain a bit about the process, like the selection, but also the different steps we have undergone. The challenges, we actually have pretty many challenges, but we are also pretty sure that we will overcome them. So we'll explain a bit more on that. Here's a QR code for those who want to have the slides. Can I move on? Or yeah. Okay. First of all, very briefly, who is Malteser International? And then a quick outset, then the process of introducing and the outlook and conclusion. So who is Malteser International? We are an international humanitarian aid organization working in over 30 countries in Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. You can see on the chart, the red marked countries is where we are, have programs worldwide. We have close to 1,000 employees, most of them national staff in the countries of implementation, but also a couple of experts and about 100 people in our headquarters in Cologne. Our project volume is about 97 million, or last year was about 97 million program funding. And what might be more relevant even for today's presentation is a bit the technical setup of Malteser International, because this also has some influence on what project accounting software we were looking for. We are legally part of the Malteser Hilfsdienst e.V. Many of you know this from the ambulance services, and this is basically our mother. And as a department of Malteser Hilfsdienst e.V., we have to do annual closure according to the German Commercial Code, the HGB, and also our accounting is subject to the German Commercial Code. We have an HQ in Cologne, in Germany, and the countries of project implementation are considered as branch offices. So we have a centralized system. They're not independent entities, but branches of our German headquarters. We have a mixture of self-implementation and implementations through partner organizations. I think we're at the moment about 40% self-implemented and 60% implementation through partner organizations. But still, there's very often we have projects where there's part own costs, part partner costs, so also something which project accounting software somehow has to take into consideration. We have a very variety of donors. We have the German Federal Foreign Office, the AA, various budget lines from the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation, the BMZ, ECHO Europe Aid, US Aid, several UN organizations, Global Fund, and also a variety of foundations. So there's a lot in the mix. Our company currency is euro. And the accounting software we have been using so far, actually almost since 20 years, is FundTrack. And FundTrack is a software that combines project and financial accounting in one system. So this is a bit the background, so that you know where we are coming from. And now I hand over to Martin, who will explain a bit about the initial situation when we started thinking about a new project accounting software.
Yes, thank you, Katja. So as an outset, I think reasons for change. Why did we even think about changing? So one of the main reasons was that colleagues around the world really had a lot of struggle with availability and quality of data. So that was one of the main criteria why we wanted to change. And some of the challenges that we faced were late availability of the financial data, so really meaning that we maybe were able to see an analysis, as it is called in WINPACCS, or a budget control 2 or 3 months later than when data was actually posted. There was a lot of use of parallel Excel. I think we heard that before. Also, Excel, yes, it has its advantages. It is very flexible. But of course, we heard about the data loss and things like that, and we, want to get away from Excel a bit more, if not entirely, but let's see how that works out. We also faced a lot of challenges with exchange rate calculations, so transferring everything to the company currency. If you always have to enter for every income the exchange rate, then it never matches. So we had a lot of data that compiled that didn't match. So that also meant a lot of manual labor afterwards. This goes in line with corrections of mistakes, lots of manual data consolidation, budget controls, I already discussed that. Then, of course, we wanted a system that is better performing, that is more up to date, maybe a bit more user-friendly, but still has all the features of accounting software, in this case for the projects, maybe in the future also for the financial accounting. We heard a lot about that yesterday and this morning. So that was one of our criteria for the reasons of change. But then, as you can see, the last point is kind of the knockout blow, which makes all the others obsolete. The company Kiwi told us that they will not develop the software any further by end of 2025. So this also is a very strong criteria for the necessity of change. Then we went into the selection process, and we had a few requirements that mainly were around the software being tried and tested. So we didn't want to start from scratch, build something up, but we needed something fairly quickly that also other NGOs or other companies have already used and provided positive feedback on. So afterwards, we did a market analysis and exchanged with a few other NGOs over several years just to get their feedback on what software solutions they are using. I think we also heard that before. NGOs sometimes tend to reinvent the wheel, so there's a lot of different individual solutions. But after deep diving into 3 solutions in the end, I think you all know the outcome, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So we decided to use WINPACCS Cloud and WINPACCS Accounting for our project accounting. And why did we do that? The main reasons were that it is an up-to-date tool, that it keeps being developed. We saw that there is a lot of energy also, a lot of listening to clients and trying to incorporate those changes. Then it is a ready-to-use software with little customization requirements, meaning that we were able to implement it by using the software that was provided, although it does have a backside to the coin, but we'll get to that afterwards. For us, we were confident that it would reduce the Excel file usage, that it was a simple and extended donor reporting was possible through the system. Partner reporting, I think we also extensively had the pleasure of listening to that in the past hours and yesterday. So that is something that we will also look at implementing as soon as possible. Another very important point is that WINPACCS Accounting can be installed on every laptop. The system that we had before always needed a server. You needed to connect either through VPN or within your local network to a server to then access the accounting software. Here you can have an individual installation and can enter offline even, and then upload when you are online. So that was also a big advantage of WINPACCS in this case. The cloud, of course, by it being web-based, is accessible from anywhere around the world. And the expertise of MBI of more than 20 years also played a role. No? back to you again.
Back to me. So now we're at the step where we had decided that it's probably going to be WINPACCS. But first we were like going to a bit deeper into the software to see whether this would be really fitting. So this was a period from January to September 2023. Our finance staff, among them Sebastian, they were reading all the white papers of MBI to understand the processes and having a lot of meetings with MBI to get a better understanding of the software. And there was a intensive analysis internally, what processes would need to be changed if the new software was introduced. And also regular exchange with MBI whenever there were questions coming up in this regard. So this was the first analysis phase, and then there was a training done in HQ with key staff from different departments to get their view on the software. So I think it was like 10 people from project management, project finance staff, who actually received the basic trainings that are also given in the field. So WINPACCS for project accountants and WINPACCS for project controllers. And afterwards, the feedback was collected, whether this would be a software that is fit for purpose for us, and what challenges would there be, and what adjustments would need to be made, and so forth. And afterwards, it was decided, well, in theory, it sounds like this could be it. But of course, the devil is always in the detail, and something that looks good on paper is not always so good when you put it in practice. And of course, all the trainings had been taken place in the test environment. And so it was decided that we are going to go for a pilot in one of our project locations, where we actually start posting in the real system. And this pilot was taking place from October to December 2023. And afterwards, a decision was going to be made whether or not we are going for WINPACCS for a full rollout. So the pilot project was, as I said, to be done in the productive environment. And we selected Nairobi as our pilot location. This is our country office in Kenya, due to a couple of reasons. One was that we at that time had Martin as a program coordinator or country coordinator there, who has a very good understanding of finance and of financial processes. So it was important to have a country coordinator who actually is into the topic, in order to also give first level support to the colleagues, but also give qualitatively good feedback to HQ about the feasibility of introducing the software. Then we have a kind of representative amount of postings. We didn't want a location with 1,000 vouchers a month, but also not one which only has like 5, because they're mainly partner projects. So we wanted something in between that, we have enough to try, but not something that overwhelms us. Then we wanted to have a standard setup. In Kenya, we have partially partner-implemented projects, but also partially self-implemented projects. So also there we could get a mix to have an impression from both sides. And more or less, at least, stable internet connections, so that we are not sidetracked by internet difficulties or whatever, but that we can really focus on, is the software what we need for, and not, is the internet a problem? Yes, so the outcome was successful, and it was decided to roll out WINPACCS. And there was a discussions, are we going for the big bang? So on one date, all the locations have to switch to WINPACCS, or are we going to do it gradually? We decided for the gradual rollout over 2 years. So we started in 2024, and at the end of 2025. We are going to be finished. We have to be finished because Martin already hinted our main financial software is going to be switched to SAP S/4HANA, and there we and FunTrack is ending at the end of 2025. So in order not to make things like a total mess, we said, okay, by the end of 2025, we have to be through with the rollout. And how are we doing it? Whenever possible, we are doing the trainings on site in the project locations. to get every staff on board that is somewhere involved in the process. So not just the accountants, but also the financial assistants who might prepare or scan the vouchers, and also the program coordinator who might have to sign something in the process, so that really everybody is aware of the new system and there's a buy-in of everyone. We have a checklist prepared, what needs to be done before the training, and this we discuss with the locations 6 to 8 weeks in advance. This is like what technical things have to be prepared in the old system to have the transition, to make the transition possible, but also logistical things like what features do the laptops have to have in order to carry out the training and so forth. Then about 4 weeks before the training, we have another call where we discuss the location setup to understand what accounts are they using, what special cases are there, do they have to pay taxes, withholding taxes, for example, or payments to UNHAS flights, whatever. So everything to take into consideration when it comes to setting up the master data in order to prepare for the training. And then the training as such is 3 days, usually supported by a consultant from MBI. This is a theoretical training, but we aim at being there a couple of days before to prepare for it, and to clarify like general financial questions before, so that the training time is not eaten up by things that are not software related, but more or less internally process related. And then afterwards also to stay on for at least a week, ideally even more, to actually support with the live posting. And when people are really trying out posting the first months in WINPACCS, that there's always somebody there to support if there are questions. We are in Cologne a team of 3 people. This is us, basically. This is the WINPACCS team of Malteser International, and we are responsible for the project management, so everything that comes along in this rollout process, but also carrying out the trainings and the first level user support. Yes, and as we already said, not everything is smoothly all the time, so I hand over to Martin for the challenges.
Yes, the hand that is coming up is maybe a bit harsh, but yeah, anyway, we're trying to break through those challenges, so let's look at it that way. And I think the first point is very critical, and we also heard it this morning from the panel here. I think there is always a lot of anxiety. Yeah? Any change, anything new, I think everybody always fears it a little bit. Yes, there were a lot of screams for something new, something improved, something better. But when the new thing is there, then of course we are all anxious. Yeah? Does it really work? Can I trust it? Will it really, if I enter this, will that really come out? What else changes? Katja mentioned processes. Of course, we also had to look at those. So yeah, there is a lot of, sometimes even fear that these processes are something after 20 years of using another software, it will take a long time to learn, things like that. We have one example here that also brings a lot of problems, is maybe the terminology. Voucher date is something different in the old software than it is in the new software. WINPACCS maybe has their own terminology for certain things that we got used to over the years to something else. Learning all that takes time. So I think that is a very critical factor. And as I mentioned earlier, the ready-to-use software is nice, but it also means that we are not adapting the software fully to our structure, but we also, and our processes, but we also have to adapt our structure and processes to the software. Yeah, because it is not an individual customization customized software, but something where we have to see how can we make it fit. Yes, it was tried, and it is logical and makes sense. But we also use that as kind of the right time to maybe look at our internal processes and see how we can improve them at the same time, but also make them fit in the software. Yeah, I think this was also mentioned. If you as a company have a wish to change something, then of course this is nothing immediate in this case, but it is a kind of inclusive process where MBI then invites all the clients. So this might also take a little bit more time to really see, is this something that is beneficial to everybody before it then gets installed. Yeah, it is a double entry system, but we heard earlier also, I think from the GIZ representative here, when it was developed, it was supposed to be a simplified double entry system. We actually have to say, yes, that is good. But in the past years, we've heard more and more requests for really having a full double entry system, because a lot of locations also have to do an annual closure as part of the requirements of the country they are in. So more and more this has become a topic, and we're very happy also to hear that there are plans on the way to make it a financial software, accounting software. Yeah, the SAP interface needs to be taken into consideration. This sort of plays along that we now have 3 softwares that we are currently dealing with, so that for us is also a challenge, since we still have our FunTrack software till end of 2025, that is at least another year. We're already working on introducing SAP, so we have a lot of different interfaces that we have to deal with, and not only up, but also down, and really having all the data ready is a big challenge for us currently, but we hope that they will be taken care of by end of 2026. And that is exactly what is said here with the transitional period. That's how we view it currently. And yeah, this is just for you as a reminder that that also means that you still have to do a lot of manual consolidation between all the systems. Another major factor also for the analysis is this forecast function. I think we also heard it some time today or yesterday. I think that is also something very important in our budget controls, because we're not only looking back, but we're also looking at least 3 months in advance for our funds requests from headquarters, for our funds requests from donors, for internal planning purposes. So yeah, this kind of forecast function is part of the budget control, so that is also something that we would highly support. Yeah, already visible success. So currently we're a little bit further than halftime, so 9 locations are now already using WINPACCS, and I think about 7 more to go for next year. So we're roughly halfway there. We can see that the financial data is more up to date. We had some successes where locations, in this case Turkey as an example here, managed to even enter 150 vouchers in a day, so that is not a problem. It is user friendly, and if you have it prepared, then the entering is very fast. You can do a daily closure, and then you have the data in the cloud. The access then is easier. So even the monitoring from anywhere, from a headquarters, from a regional point, is much improved. The reporting currency is another point that will help us with the different needs that donors have. it is also good that you're able to customize different reports like voucher lists and things to donor requirements, which a lot of other softwares don't have, where it's much more restricted. So this is a positive aspect. And oh, the last one, processes need to be newly thought through. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. It was also a chance. Yeah, sometimes after 20 years, you get so used to a process, and you forget to maybe look a bit outside the box and see, yeah, maybe it might be quicker now, or maybe there are new tools or new ways or to do things more efficiently and quickly. So this was also very positive in this kind of software change. Now, as an outlook and conclusion,
Yes.
I hand over to you one last time.
Yeah, maybe to add another issue to the challenge success part, there's a lot of features that we think, like, if we were using them now, they would be like a huge success. For example, the budget controlling in WINPACCS. We have a slight problem because of this transition with the 3 softwares, that we are not yet able to have all the data that we have, for example, in our headquarters. For example, salaries of expats, or salary or huge invoices that are paid from headquarters, or also data for projects that have been running, let's say, for 2 years before we switch to WINPACCS, that we are still like manually somehow adjusting to get the data into WINPACCS. So the data is not totally complete. And that's why, at the moment, the colleagues still have to do the budget controls and the donor reporting in FundTrack in order to really have everything in there. And this is, yeah, really a pity for us, because it means the successes cannot really be felt by the colleagues. No? And after the training, they're super keen on, like, oh, now I'm going to do my budget control in WINPACCS. That looks so great. And then we say, yes, but you still have to like export it, because there's like 3 expenses from HQ that need to be included. And yeah, so that's a bit a hard job for us still to keep the spirit up and say, but still, it's a super software. Once we're there, it's going to be super, because, yeah, the successes cannot all yet be felt. I mean, there are, of course, some, like entering is quicker, that is already available on the ground, but yeah, this is a bit bumpy still, but we'll get there. Outlook is, as Martin said, 7 to 8 more trainings in locations. Actually, 12 more locations are going to be included in the rollout, but some of them are very small. And we are aiming at completing this by October 2025. Then we are going to try very soon a pilot with the partner book with one of our partners. Yeah, we're very waiting basically for today's presentation and the launching, because we were always told, like, oh, please, before you start, wait till the new feature is there. Yeah, and now we are really keen on trying this out, because I think this will really help us with the way we are currently dealing with partner reporting. Then this is at a later stage. I think we might look into adding the inventorization feature that WINPACCS also offers. And yes, what is still like a big issue is the SAP S/4HANA interface, which we will have to yeah, somehow come up with by the end of the year 2025, in order to ensure the data migration from one software to the other. And conclusion.
And for the conclusion, yes, last slide. Thank you for your patience. But anyway, yeah, some lessons learned. So I think the main conclusion here is that you really have to, when you transition softwares, I mean, trainings are key. It's trainings, yeah, to take away that anxiety and all that. You really need to train them, but not only on the software, but also around the other soft issues around the software. The software is one part. The software you get used to fairly quickly at the end. Yeah, you might not know how to get there. You will have a lot of questions, but the main key is really that training of, yeah, on-the-job training, and really making sure that they understand. I mean, everybody understands the ins and outs of the new processes. So that really for us is very key. And then also taking everybody on board, not only the financial staff members, but really everybody from the country coordination to other program coordinators to managers, so that everybody understands this, because as always in our project implementation, you never work in a silo. So it's really a joint effort by the whole location office. Then it requires a lot of keeping up or keeping at it and proactive follow-up after the training. So it's not just done by going somewhere for 3 or even 4 weeks, but really making sure that that first level support and those questions are answered, especially at the beginning. So this is something that you would also have to really take into consideration and make sure that that is available when you roll out a new financial system. Better planning. This is also something that we discussed, that you really need to allocate the necessary time, especially for the interfaces. Do they work? Unfortunately, we didn't have all the time. So some of the interfaces still face a few challenges. They might work 95%, but the last 5% are the ones that take a lot of input. So getting this done ahead of time saves you a lot of headache in the process of the rolling out. So this is also something that you should consider doing beforehand. And then, to allocate key staff, I think this we also did a bit late. I think a lot of us had a lot of other work that we normally do according to our roles and job descriptions, and therefore we had to just cut off that part to allocate to this project. And I think it's very important that you also have dedicated people that really have the time to focus on this process 100%. Otherwise, I think a very key factor is the very open and constructive and helpful exchange with MBI. I know we always talk about Andre, but I know there is a big team behind it, technical team, but also other support teams and management and so on, CEO. Very important also, and I think we can clearly recognize that whenever we have a problem, that MBI really tries to look for solutions and find ways to support us, and I think that is also very essential. I think Katja had already mentioned that the introduction still is a bit bumpy here and there. But overall, we are convinced that it is the right software for Malteser International. And just to emphasize that, I think there was a nice quote by a colleague from Kenya who said that, WINPACCS has a lot of potential and that they can make it work very well for them in the future. So with that, thank you very much, and we look forward to your questions. So, thank you.